You are listening to Let's Get Metaphysical. This podcast explores the spiritual and metaphysical world through the experiences and opinions of the host and those interviewed. It should not necessarily be seen as direct endorsement or personal advice to our listeners. We encourage you to use your own discernment, judgment, and intuition regarding anything you learn from this show.
Let's get meta.
Welcome to Let's Get Metaphysical, the podcast that explores the intersections of science and spirituality. I'm your host, Renata Maniaci, and I'm here to help you to awaken to your true nature and remind you that you are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience here on lovely planet Earth. This is Season 5, The Great Awakening. In this season, we are focusing on what I and many people are calling the Great Awakening currently happening on planet Earth. So far this season, I have created episodes based on information I think is important to share, but I also want to have guests on to offer their views and their tools during these transformative times. Well, today we are going to have a bright light, Queen D. Michele, as our guest today. Queen is a light worker, way shower, and frequency holder for New Earth living. Through her brand, Considerations of the Soul, she is planting seeds and watering plants of many newly awakened souls. Her book, Traveling Home Together, gives a blueprint for living the reality of New Earth now. To find out more about Queen, visit her website at considerationsofthesoul.com. Let's jump right into the interview. Are you ready? Let's get meta. Welcome to the podcast, Queen. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so glad that we met. How are you doing today? Thank you for being here.
I am marvelous today. Thank you so much, Ren. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Good to see you too. We are talking on Zoom, so we can actually see each other.
Right.
Beautiful. Queen, I start out every interview the same way with my guests. Would you please share a metaphysical or spiritual experience that you've had with me and with our listeners?
Absolutely. I partook in spiritual sacred medicine. It's called otak. It's derived from a toad in the Sedona Desert. And I went with a group, a few friends of mine. We met up with a shaman who was hosting this journey, this opportunity. So there was preparation before we took the medicine. We had to abstain from red meat, from alcohol, from watching any type of conflict, from sex with self or others, about a week before. Mm-hmm. So on this day, there was 3 medicines altogether that we took. The first one was inhaled. You can also look up the otak experience. But anyway, it was inhaled. In that very short time, I experienced a geometric grid in the sky. I saw it. And I also saw Gaia breathing. I saw the earth breathing in and out. And I breathed with it. It was amazing. And as quickly as it came in, it went away. Mm. And then we moved to the next phase, which was just to relax us. There was chants and invocations and things said. And then we were led one by one to experience the otak, which was also an inhalation. And upon taking that, what I experienced was how could I describe it as my ego dissolved. It kind of just dissolved. And there was I didn't see anybody. There was no vision. But what it was a feeling of openness, of oneness, of pure love, just pure, the most amazing feeling, and it was energetic in a sense too, because even though I didn't see, I felt it was vibrations, and I heard love and was love and felt love, that. And I came out of that as well. And when I came out of that, the integration that took place there was weeks after that I integrated and met with my higher selves, or which I call my council. And it was the next level for me. It's where I stepped into my authenticity as a light worker, a way shower, and a frequency holder. I embraced it. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful ride ever since, And
That's
even before
beautiful.
that, there were many things, many experiences that I had, but that one sticks out. I know that was the spark that blew open the door, or lit the flame, if you will.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for sharing that. And you know what? There are so many sacred medicine ceremonies around the world with different types of medicines that when you are called to them, and that's what, that's where if you're called to do something like that, usually that means that is going to help you reach a level in your spirituality. And I really love what you said. I have not dabbled in plant medicine that much in my life, but I did have a psilocybin ceremony once. And I saw the grid that you're talking about, I think too, the geometric sacred, all the sacred shapes, the sacred geometry. It was just everywhere. And it was beautiful and awe-inspiring. And so when you said that, I was like, wow, this is so interesting. And it's a different medicine, right? That's a different ceremony. And another thing that you mentioned that I just want to call out and I love is you talked about the integration, because so many people who are drawn to plant medicine ceremonies do not know about integration and how it is just as important as the ceremony itself. It's so important. So thank you so much for mentioning the integration piece as well, and how that takes place for heaps of time afterwards. It can be a long time. It can be a year. It can be more than a year.
Yes,
absolutely.
I'm sure of it.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing. And I love hearing stories like that. I love any kind of metaphysical, spiritual experience. And that was beautiful to share. So thank you for that. And while we're talking about that, I just want to move into my next question for you, because that for you, and has been for me as well in the past, was an awakening and a next level kind of type of awakening. And that's what this season is all about. This season is about the Great Awakening. And there's so many different levels of awakening that are happening. There's levels on the gross plane. There's levels on the 3D, the 4D, the 5D, all these different levels of awakening for both individually experiencing who we really are and taking the veil off and seeing what's actually been going on around us this whole time and what the world is actually going through. So my question to you is, Queen, what is your take on this unique moment in the world? What for you is going on right now?
For me, what a wonderful time to be alive. What a wonderful time to experience, to be a part of, to participate in a mass awakening. It is truly a shift in human consciousness. It is a shift from old earth to new earth. And people say, I can't wait till new earth gets here. I've heard that. It's here. It's here now. And what I'm trying to help people understand as they watch my life is that it's a state of consciousness. That's what New Earth is. It's a state of consciousness. And those in that state of consciousness, we're creating New Earth. every moment, every day of our lives. These realities that we're creating them in new earth. They have all the bandwidth and frequency of new earth. And we have become observers of old earth. Now, I like the way you said the veil has been lifted and we've seen what was, and although it is, we are aware of it, we know that we're creating and building and a new earth that's completely opposite of so wonderful time to be alive as eternal beings, and embracing that and knowing that we're eternal beings from the depth of, the depth of our soul, and experiencing new earth as the shift is taking place.
Right.
I deep breaths.
I
Breathe through it.
I love how you're describing this. And I've said this a lot on my show, which is so many people are saying, we're going to the new earth. We're getting there. The earth is raising in vibration. And what I've heard so much and what I've just heard you say is that the earth is already there. We are catching up as the souls, or I don't know if catching up is even the right way to say it, but we're waking up to that reality that the new earth is already here and she is good and she's doing it. And we've talked about this so much on this particular podcast at this time, but like to be a soul that chose to incarnate at this moment in the universe, this is the biggest show in town.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yes, I love that. The biggest show. Yes.
Right. So it's lovely to connect with other folks who are helping to bring around this shift in consciousness, who are holding the frequency.
That's right. Anchoring the light.
Anchoring the light in as that new grid becomes bigger and shinier and bigger and shinier. And I just, thank you for your work. And thanks for being here. It's a pleasure to connect with other, soul family, in a sense, star family.
Yes.
However you want to put that.
It's endearing because remember, there are different levels within my family, and within my friends and even within my new friends, and a lot of this is not being embraced, that they tolerate my conversation and they smile and nod and and they love me and they love my light. And I get that. They know that there's, boy, that queen is woo,
I've had such similar experiences as well. It's like, I think some of my friends are probably like, these are close friends too, but some of my friends are just so sick of me talking about like whatever I'm talking about, because that's not part of their reality at this moment. Like my reality is fundamentally a different reality than theirs. And like, I have come out of so many closets in my life, but the most recent one was the angelic closet. Like I fully believe in angels, and I have for a long time, but I just kind of recently was like, this is it. If you don't believe in angels, you're listening to the wrong podcast, like this is just part of it. So I think that there's many, and I'm doing quotation marks, closets that folks are stepping out of right now, and many levels of consciousness that are being reached in different ways. Like we look at I don't want to talk about the news, but we look at it, and even the things happening around the world that look horrible and are horrible and are, atrocious to us, are still helping to raise the level of consciousness on the planet so that those things can no longer occur in the future.
Yes, can collapse. Timelines are collapsing all over the place, So yes, exactly. Yeah. I am aware, and I am touched. My energy is touched by those things, but at the same time,
absolutely,
I am thankful for it, and I know those souls are eternal as well. So thank you for your service, right. As we are one in all of this.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard, it's hard sometimes if you're not used to being able to float between the different levels of consciousness and float between the different dimensions. Like if so many people are still really much at that 3D dimensional reality. And if that's all they see, this stuff is painful. This stuff is scary. This stuff, it causes
it's heavy.
It's fear.
Dense.
It's heavy. It's
dense. Absolutely. Yes.
And if I think we're hopefully reaching a level now where more and more people are able to kind of step back and be in that observer mode and see what's happening and not necessarily feel like they have to sink into it, because there's so many different levels of being. There's levels of being that when I see something horrible or when a new truth is revealed, and honestly, I think that so many truths are about to be revealed throughout the course of this year and time that happened that will be shocking for people. But there's different levels of that. It's going to feel one way and so intense and so horrible and so sad and so shocking for some of these things, and other things, not everything's going to be horrible, right? But on the different levels, you can kind of zoom out and see, okay, well, that happening and that coming to light is shifting the entire world and the entire consciousness.
Exactly. And to be an observer of that, and higher consciousness gives you an expansive perspective. It's not this one. When your level of consciousness is raised, you see, oh, okay, how that. Yeah, because we see the interconnectedness of all that is. Yeah.
Right. It's a bird's eye view. Instead of, my spiritual teacher said it well. When did he say it? Well, it doesn't matter when he said it. My spiritual teacher said, you walk into a skyscraper building, has 100 stories, but you don't see the inner workings of that building. You only see that floor that you're on.
Right.
And then you can go up the floors and you can see another perspective and another perspective. And as you go up, then you can look out the window and you see so much more than you did from the ground floor. So it's the same thing you're saying. And I think that's what's happening on a very big scale right now.
That's why I love hiking so much, being able to hike up a mountain, because as you're hiking, number one, it's a meditative activity. You're consciously aware of the steps that you're taking. That's a meditative activity. But at the same time, your perspective as you climb changes. And when you and with a hiker, the thing is to get to the top and go. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, just to see. I did it. I can see all this stuff. It's beautiful. Let me go back down.
Now let's go back down. Exactly.
That's actually, Queen, that's a really beautiful metaphor for what I would like to invite our listeners to be able to do, is we can say to go on hikes, go on a hike here and
change your perspective.
Exactly. Change your perspective for even a little bit. Go try to zoom out, see it from a bird's eye view if you can.
Zoom out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that.
And you can always walk back down the mountain and be where you're used to and be where you're comfortable. But that is a really good kind of analogy, I think, right now, to as new truths come to light in these in this next time, as beautiful things arrive and as sad things arrive and everything in between. Try to zoom out to see the whole picture, because if you get caught just in the 3D, it's going to be very painful at times, and change is going to be very painful at times if you can't see the greater picture of what's going on here. So that's I love that. I feel like I've talked to you for forever. Like our souls have been communicating. That's what I mean.
Yeah. You're on and popping in there.
Yeah, I love it. So, Queen, I thought this might be a good moment to ask you. You've written a few books now. You have your most recent book, and I want to ask you about that book because I just love the title of it, and I want to ask you to tell us a little bit about it and talk about what are a few things from your most recent book that might help us in this moment that we're in right now. What are a few things that you want to share with our listeners today about that?
Thanks so much for asking about that. It's a little compact 8-chapter small book, but I take the reader on a metaphoric journey of walking home from school. But in doing that, I hit him with universal truths. It's consider, not harsh. It's just consider this or consider that. And I'm saying in the book, consider who you are, and why you're here, in ways that they can go about doing that through meditation, through sacred medicine, through all the different tools that are out there right now. But I encourage them throughout the entire book. And the title of the last chapter is Enjoy the Ride. Enjoy the ride, enjoy this. And because that's what we're really here for. And my heart, I just pour it out in a sense, in a real way that hopefully readers will take some considerations for that. And it doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to live your entire life surviving. And the joy of it is that, hey, I survived. No, you lived, you enjoyed, you created, you expanded, that's what you did here. That's what being here is all about, So do that now.
Right.
Do that now. So
I love that. I love that. And actually, I didn't know that was the last chapter of your book. And at the beginning of this podcast for a long time now, I say some variation of, remember that you're a spiritual being having a human experience here on lovely planet Earth.
Right.
Enjoy it. It's something to that effect is remember, remember this is a temporary experience. So you might as well enjoy it. And I love that we're kind of on the same level there. Like be here now.
Enjoy the ride.
That you want to do.
And this is all I'm saying. Like, come on, look at that. Come on.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah.
I love that. So what is something in your book that you think is a message that you think will help people in this moment?
I focus throughout the book on one thing in particular, because this was the game changer for me. The game changer for me was the realization that I'm eternal. I am an eternal being. I can never get it done, and I can never get it wrong. And I push that through. And this is how I say, how we all coin our little phrases as we work, as we do our service work, we have our own little coin phrases. So you just mentioned one. This is what I say. Let's see if I can get it correctly. Consciousness in me, expressed in form as me, experiencing itself through me and is me. That's it.
Yeah.
Get that. And that's the game. Embrace that. That's the game changer.
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love that what you just said is essentially what I want to do here with the podcast is remind people that we are eternal souls having different experiences in different places, in different times, in different forms. And to remember that, because when we remember that, you can't take yourself so seriously.
You won't, life won't be so heavy.
Yeah.
It'll be so heavy.
Exactly.
And you'll move out of that, yay, I'm surviving, to yay, I'm living.
Absolutely.
There is a difference.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I wanted to ask you, is there anything else that's coming up for you right now that you want to share? Is there anything that's alive for you that you want to express to our listeners?
Just that New Earth is here, and it's beautiful and blissful and kind and cooperative and expansive and loving. Come on, come see. Come see.
We can't hear that enough right now.
Right.
We can't hear that enough right now. Thank you. I love that, because depending on where you are, I know you're in Mexico, I'm in Costa Rica at the moment. And depending on where you are, we need to hear that every day, twice a day, 4 times a day, to remember that that is the truth of where we're going and not be sucked down by whatever else is happening around us. So thank you for that.
Right.
So Queen, how can people reach you if they want to learn more about you and what you do?
Thanks, Ren. I have a website, and it's called considerationsofthesoul.com. www.considerationsofthesoul, one word.com. And everything about me is there. I would love for you to check me out.
Absolutely. That's so great. Thank you. Queen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. My heart.
It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
My heart feels expanded right now. I love
mine
this.
Too. Yep.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
A huge thank you to Queen for joining me on the show today. It's always such a lovely experience to connect with a kindred soul, and I'm super grateful to all of the incredible people that I've been able to meet so far on this season. Thank you for sharing your beautiful awakening messages. I want to introduce you all to the newest Up, Up, and Awaken production. As you know, Let's Get Metaphysical is an Up, Up, and Awaken production, and we have more coming out every day. This one is a YouTube-based series called Wake Updates. It is hosted and produced by me and Julia Malone, and you can find it by subscribing to Up, Up, and Awaken Productions on YouTube. We release an episode every Sunday with updates and insights about what is going on in the 3D, 4D, and 5D realities as we continue to move through this great awakening together. And in this time of massive transformation, we feel that it is so incredibly important to clear our minds and fields of any illusions and untruth that we are also offering a 3-week course starting August 2nd, 2020, called Exit the Matrix. This is going to be all about clearing out old programming, subliminal messaging, other old conditioning, false beliefs, and any other aspects of the veil or veils that have been covering our eyes on this planet in this reality for so long. It's time to clear these. We will take many steps to become truth magnets. If you are interested in joining us or in learning more about this 3-week course starting August 2nd, 2020, please visit the site where we hold all of our live courses at realizeyourourawakening.com. That's YOUR awakening, realizeyourourawakening.com. I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for listening. Stay positive, stay safe, and stay meta.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. The statements and advice offered in this podcast are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition, and are not substitutes for prudent medical care offered by a licensed medical professional. The Let's Get Metaphysical podcast is an Up, Up, and Awaken production. Our intention is to raise the vibration of the planet by sharing, validating, and normalizing spiritual and metaphysical experiences. The show is produced and hosted by Renata Maniaci, creator of Up, Up, and Awaken, a platform devoted to creating conscious content to assist in the awakening currently taking place on this planet. If you want to see more from Up, Up, and Awaken, please subscribe to the Up, Up, and Awaken Productions channel on YouTube. If you are enjoying the podcast, let us know. Visit our website at letsgetmeta.com or shoot us an email at info@letsgetmeta.com. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Give us a 5-star rating or write us a review on your podcast app. You can like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram at Let's Get Meta. Share the podcast with your friends. We want this high vibe content to reach as many aligned ears as possible. If you are looking for support in your awakening process, please consider becoming a member of our Up, Up, and Awaken community on Patreon. Patrons in this community both give support to the conscious content that Ren creates, like this podcast, and receive support in their awakening via the community's offerings, including courses, live group healings, and an interactive community. You can join the Up, Up, and Awaken community by visiting patreon.com/letsgetmeta. Let's Get Meta is almost entirely listener supported. If you love the show and want to support it, you can still become a patron of the podcast at patreon.com/letsgetmeta. We appreciate all types of support. It helps keep this show going. Thank you for listening. Stay meta.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.